and everybody else. Okay, Shalom.
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 Welcome to another Sabbath, Friday sundown to Saturday sundown, as written in the Bible. We're at the house of David, 191 Howard Avenue, Brooklyn, between Bainbridge and Chauncey Street. Okay, what we're gonna do today? We're gonna go over. I'm gonna go over the chapter 3 in the Bible. We're gonna explain about Adam and Eve. Okay, start from the first verse.
Khan, reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field, which the Adonai Yahweh had made. And he said unto the woman, Indeed hath Yahweh said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden.
Now, everyone has heard the story of Adam and Eve. They go into it in the church. But do they really go into it? We're going to go into it step by step so you can understand what's being said. This whole chapter is like a metaphor. You have to look at it deep. Read it again, slow.
Khan, we're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Stop. The serpent is talking about Satan. When you go to Revelations 13 and 4, it says the dragon. The dragon is talking about Satan. Satan has different names. Okay? Now, we were taught to believe you had this man and this woman. They was in the garden. They was walking around naked. No. We're going to explain everything in the Bible. You're going to understand, and you're going to understand there's a spiritual world that you have to understand when you read this Bible. Go ahead.
Which the Adonai Yahweh had made.
Right. The Most High made Satan. Let's prove that. Get me Psalms 148 and 5. Angels are spirits. That's Psalms 104 and 4. Satan is a superior angel. But what you call God in Hebrew, Yahweh, he made Satan. Go ahead.
Reading out the book of Psalms, chapter 148, verse 5. Let them praise the name of the Adonai.
They're talking about the angels at this point. Go ahead.
For he commanded, and they were created. He have also established them forever and ever.
Right. You know that's talking about, talking about angels. Nobody lives forever and ever. Angels are messengers. Okay, what the Most High wants, that's their job. He gave them the power to do it. Other words, the Most High made these entities and gave them things to do. Angels patrol this earth like traffic cops, so things don't get out of hand. Why? It's going to fall apart, but it has to fall apart on the Most High's time schedule. Where we are right now, it's going to be total chaos. It comes down to the final battle between who? Good and evil, Christ and Satan. All this was predicted. The Most High wrote this like it was a play. You can't get around it. We're living it right now. It's just the fact most people don't want to realize it. Look at your cable news and see all these calamities all of a sudden. And we're not talking minor calamities, major calamities, one right after the other. And when you read the Bible, that's how empires fell. Only thing is, see, we caught up in this empire and we figured, nah, it's not going to fall. It's going to fall. If the kingdom of the Most High's people has to be established, all these other empires have to fall. They both can't stand. Because that's going to be a righteous kingdom, and this is all but wickedness. Okay, go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter.
Khan. Reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field.
Right.
Which the Adonai Yahweh had made.
Now, you see words like trees and fruits. You think you in some kind of a garden. No. The fruits is talking about power that Satan had. And the trees are talking about men. We're going to prove all this as we read on. Go ahead. What verse you in?
Verse 1. And he said unto the woman, Indeed, hath Yahweh said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said,
When he says should not eat every of it. Read that again. What? You shall not eat of every tree
Of the garden?
Right. Remember, trees are people. Certain people you're supposed to stay away from. Why? They have certain powers you're not supposed to be dealing with. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden.
Now, who is in the midst of the garden? Being subtle, Satan. Satan can offer you a lot of stuff, but guess what? You're not supposed to be indulging in that. He has power, but it's on what? The left-hand side. Go ahead.
Yahweh hath said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
Now, when it says die, it don't mean die like in drop dead, die like in sin. Okay? Sin. You have to understand what's being said. I'll give an example. When it says that they were naked, they weren't naked. They sinned. That's what it's talking about. They sinned. Go ahead.
And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die.
He's being subtle. He's being what he's supposed to be, subtle. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to stand by your guns. The Most High tells you don't do certain things. Don't do certain things. Now, somebody comes up to you real subtle. Nah, come on, it's not that bad. We can do some of that, not all of it, but some of it. You're supposed to leave because you're being what? Tested, seduced. When the Most High says don't do something and you do it, you can't come back to him later on with some sad story. He don't want to hear it. He's not used to having people not do what he say do. When you have that much power, how somebody gonna say, well, at the time it seemed right. It don't work like that. It don't work like that. Go ahead.
For Yahweh does know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be open.
Stop. What does it mean your eyes shall be open? If this is just regular fruit, how fruit gonna open your eyes? That's not talking about just regular eyes. Spiritually, your eyes are open. That's not regular fruit. That's how you know all these are metaphors. But
And ye shall be as Yahweh.
right, you shall be. It says gods. It says knowing what good and evil, which means what? It's like something from a Twilight Zone movie. You dealing with this man in the midst of a garden. When it says garden, it's talking about a land, and you have lots of people. Trees are people. Now, there's a certain person in the midst of those people you're supposed to stay away from. He has certain power. It says, don't touch the fruit, meaning his philosophy, what he's talking about. Leave that alone. What did they do? They dabbled. Read.
And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes.
Stop. How's a tree pleasant to the eyes? A tree is a tree. Go ahead.
And a tree to be desired to make one wise.
Now, a tree to be desired. How is a tree a tree is desirable? How? At this point, you have to prove what? That the trees are talking about people. Get Ezekiel 31 and 18. Ezekiel 31, 18.
Reading out of the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 18. To whom art thou thus like in glory and in greatness among the trees of Eden? Indeed, shalt thou be brought down with the trees of Eden unto the nether parts of the earth.
That's talking about the underworld or hell. Go ahead.
Thou shalt lie in the midst of the uncircumcised with them that be slain by the sword.
Stop. How's a tree going to be laying down with the uncircumcised? Those are talking about heathens, people that are not of the chosen seed. Start that and read it again.
Khan.
A little slower.
Reading out of the book of Ezekiel, chapter 31, verse 18. To whom art thou thus like in glory and in greatness among the trees of Eden?
Now, glory, how did trees get involved in glory and greatness? This is talking about people. Go ahead.
Indeed, shalt thou be brought down with the trees of Eden.
So now trees are going to be brought down. If they're not cut down, this is not talking about a tree being cut down, it means brought down. Go ahead.
With the trees of Eden unto the nether parts of the earth.
Other words, these trees are going to hell. Trees don't go to hell. Go ahead.
Thou shalt lie in the midst of the uncircumcised with them that be slain by the sword.
Does that sound like something happened to a tree? No. Trees are people in the Garden of Eden. Okay, that's it on that. Now, what was the next thing that happened? It said wise. What does it mean to be wise? That means you spiritually in tune. Let's prove that. Go to Daniel's chapter 2. Give me 26 to 28.
Daniel 2, 26 to 28. Reading out of the book of Daniel, chapter 2, verse 26. The king answered and said to Daniel, whose name was Belteshazzar,
Yeah.
art thou able to make known unto me the dream which I have seen and the interpretation thereof?
Other words, this king had a dream and he wanted an interpretation. He didn't hint to what it was. He said, you have to tell me what the dream is. If not, I'm killing you. Go ahead.
Daniel answered in the presence of the king and said, the secret which the king have demanded cannot the wise men, the astrologers, the magicians, the soothsayers show unto the king.
Stop. Who are these people he mentioned? These were people that dabbled in what? The dark side. They understood the spiritual side of things. Okay? And who was in there? The wise men. The who? Soothsayers. You're not supposed to be dabbling in that. Okay, now that's it on that?
Verse 28.
Yeah, give me 28.
But there is a power in heaven that reveals secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter days.
Right, that was the Most High. The Most High told him what the dream was. He told the king, and that gave him favor in the sight of the king, because no one else can do that. Now, as far as what the wise men are, get anything that says wise is dealing with a supernatural event. Get me Matthews 2 and 9.
We're reading out of the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 9. When they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
Now, we're going to go back. You're going to go back to the first verse, and you're going to read. Now, we all heard this story. The baby Christ was born. Now, the king wanted to know, listen, where's this baby? Let me know. I want to go worship the baby also. He wanted to kill the baby. But we're going to understand what the term wise mean. Go ahead.
When they saw the star,
No,
Shalat
start from the first verse.
Khan. Read now the book of Matthew, chapter 2, verse 1. Now, when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem.
Right, which means what? These men were in tune with the spiritual side. That's what it's talking about, wise. It's like when the mob, when they use the term wise guy, they know the inner working of things. In a biblical sense, wise men understand that it's the angels that are at work. And we're gonna prove that right now. Go ahead.
Saying, where is he that is born King of the Hebrews? For we have seen his star in the east and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he demanded of them where the Hamashiach should be born.
Right. Everyone knew Christ was on the scene, but they didn't know where he was. Now, the kings of all the empires knew the purpose of Christ. How do you know this? Simple. Satan was ruling the kingdoms. Let me give you a little idea what I'm talking about. In Egypt, with Moses and Aaron, when they were talking to Pharaoh, the staff was thrown down and it turned into a serpent. They threw their staff down and theirs turned into a serpent and ate Pharaoh's serpent. Now, how does this take place unless the spirits are working? How does a staff turn into a serpent? They was dealing with what? Sorcery. All governments are run by who? Satan. It tells you that in the book of Luke, the 4th chapter. When Satan is talking to Christ, he said, listen, I'm going to give you all these empires that was put in my hands to give to whom I please. Now, remember who he's talking to. He's talking to Christ. Now, who else could have gave Satan that much authority? The Most High. Because Satan was cast down on earth. This earth became his domain. And he was given power over all kingdoms up until when? The end. When you look at things now, who's running things? Satan. Everything is run by spirits. Satan, when Satan was cast down, he was who was sent with him? Fallen angels, angels on the left-hand side. To do what? Evil. That's why everything is so chaotic. It's following Satan. Go ahead.
And Shalat. And they said unto him in Bethlehem of Judea, for thus it is written by the prophet, and thou, Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, art not the least among the princes of Judah, for out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
Right. So in other words, Herod wants to get in on this because see, he's scared that he's going to be dethroned and Christ is going to take over his seat. Okay. Now, read that last part again.
And then Herod, when he had privily called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared.
Now, which star are they talking about? Keep reading.
And he sent them to Bethlehem and said, go and search diligently for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
Stop. When you in church, this is where you're supposed to stop that preacher and say, hold on, wait a second. Now, have you ever been down south and you look up in the sky, you see millions of stars. millions of miles away. How is one star way out there going to stop over a house and you know that's where you're supposed to go? We're not talking about something that's regular. We're talking about something spiritual happen. Two things you got to take into consideration. It's a something bright, which probably was an angel, is going, and these guys are watching it and following it. And at the same time, it would have to be where everybody else can't see it. Because if everybody else can see it, well, everyone knows, hey, look, what's that bright light? Let's go over there. It wasn't for that. Because who came in the room? Just the wise men, which means they're the only ones that saw it. So everything that takes place is happening what? On a spiritual level. That's what when people read this Bible, especially our people, they in church and they got that man up in the pulpit playing games and laughing and joking and hee-hawing and all that, and don't learn nothing. It's right in front of you. What the wise men saw, only they was probably able to see it, or that would have brought everybody in there to follow. What's that bright light? Let's go over there and see what that's about. No. Read the story. Go ahead, keep reading.
When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was.
Right. So a star that's supposedly millions of miles away, this particular star is right there in front of them, showing them where to go, and stops over a house. And like I said, on a common sense level, they're the only ones that probably was able to see it. Because if not, everybody would have went inside there. What's the star doing there? Everybody running in to see who? Christ. Everybody wasn't supposed to know where Christ was. Go ahead.
When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down.
Stop. Who's in the room? The wise men, there's three of them. There's Joseph, Mary, and Christ. That's all that's in the room. Now, if it was a bright star and anybody can see it, the whole neighborhood would have been in that room. It was just them. Why? Only them, only they were supposed to be there. The Most High is orchestrating this thing. So you can get an understanding of how things work. Hold that and get 2 Chronicles 18 and 18.
2 Chronicles.
You got to get a visual on how things work.
Read now the book of 2 Chronicles, chapter 18, verse 18.
Now, before he reads, let me make build a picture for you. The one you call God in Hebrew is Yahweh, is sitting on his throne. And it says a host of heaven. That means angels. Angels is on the left of him. Angels are on the right of him. Now, like I went over last times, angels on the left are negative angels. That's Matthew 27:41. Angels on the right are what? The positive angels. Now, an angel is what? A spirit. To do what? Functions. When you go to in the Apocrypha, Ecclesiasticus 39 from 28 to 35, he has spirits set for vengeance. What are those? Angels. What kind of vengeance? It tells you floods, hurricanes, earthquakes, wild beasts. To do what? Punishment, damage. Those are angels. So the Most High sitting on his throne, watching the earth, and his angels are there to do his bidding. That's how things get done. With the Most High, everything is what? Timeless. So from biblical time, first of all, when you read the Bible, everything already took place. It's like we in the movie, you watch the movie, then you hit rewind, then you hit play again. That's where we are right now. We're leading up to what? World War III. And then what? The deliverance of who? the children of Israel just from Babylon. Why? Because not one blade of grass going to be left in Babylon. You're going to have Israel on different parts of the earth. But in this place, not one blade of grass going to be left. That's why we have to be delivered part of the 1/3, not all of it, part of the 1/3. All of the 1/3 is everyone that's left. Okay? So the 1/3, when they get delivered, that's part of what's written in the Bible. All this has to happen. The one you call God, he's sitting on his throne with the angels and making sure everything happens on point. Christ was told what? Psalms 110:1. Sit at thy right hand till I make thy enemies thy footstool. Other words, you sit this one out. Daddy got this one. Yahweh got this one. You look at the floods and you look at the heat and you look at the drought and all that stuff. That's the Most High. Why? That's why you got to understand the scriptures. Where do you go? Genesis 15:12 and 13. 12 talks about what? The 400 years. Talks about the 400 years. Excuse me. We're finished with excuse me. We're finished with the 400 years. Now, what's next? The punishment for the nations. Excuse me. That's what we live in right now. When you watch cable news, you're looking at what? Punishment. And what's the Most High doing? The angels have to do their thing. They're bringing punishment. They're bringing earthquakes and floods, excuse me, and famine and everything else. That's part of Bible prophecy. Okay? You have to get a working understanding of what's happening. You're living in a Bible story right now. Go ahead, read.
Again, he said, therefore, hear the word of the Adawan. I saw the Adawan sitting upon his throne, and all the host of heaven standing on his right hand and on his left.
Right, those are angels. That's it.
And Khan.
Okay. That gives you an idea. Now, we went over that before. Angels, Psalms 104 and 4 are what? Spirits. Okay. When you see people, what are you looking at? You're looking at a body with what? A spirit in it. When a person drops dead, what happens? The spirit leaves the body. It's like a toy when you take the battery out. Your spirit is what? Your battery, your energy source. When they say, oh, he has a certain personality, what is that? That's a spirit. When they show you with Beyonce doing the dancing and her face change and all this other stuff, those are spirits that make her Beyonce. Give an example. You watch a guy, a so-so player from college, he plays basketball. And he's like, oh man, this guy is lousy. Look at him. And then he moves up, but still, Then you get another guy comes in. This guy is just pure energy. And what's that guy's name? Michael Jordan. What's the difference? They have certain spirits in them. Muhammad Ali wasn't just a boxer. He had a certain spirit. Young Mike Tyson had a certain spirit. That's what you have to understand. You're looking at spirits in real time. You just don't realize it. Why? Because they don't teach you in church. That's what you're looking at. All people that was beyond normal, they had spirits in them. Your personality is what? A spirit. You get some people that are this way and that way and perverted and have moral character and everything. Those are spirits that in them. Because you're going to have multiple spirits in your body. It tells you that what's that scripture? I think it's Romans. You don't have to get it. Romans 12:44. When it talks about when you have different spirits in your body and they control you. And then when you cleanse your body, you get rid of them evil spirits. because there was a lot of them in there. See, spirits control people. Everything is about spirits and how the spiritual world works. Let's say, like in our neighborhoods, you see a lot of these botanicas. You're not supposed to be dealing with that. Get me Deuteronomy 18:10. 18:10 is it 10:18?
Reading out of the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18, verse 10. There shall not be found among you anyone that maketh his son or his daughter to pass through the fire, or that use divination.
Right. Like in our neighborhood, you got the people that read palms and the tarot cards and all that. You're not supposed to be dealing with that. You go in somebody's house and they got different color candles. Okay, you know all that. Leave that alone. I don't walked into a brother's house. This was a while back. And I'm looking. I said, "Oh, look, dude, he had a pink candle." And I'm looking at this guy like, yeah, okay. You're not supposed to be dealing in that nonsense. And it wasn't from no House of David. This was way back. This was way back. Okay. All that stuff you're supposed to leave alone. When you see people walking in your neighborhood dressed all in white, like if it's a guy, white shoes, white sock, white pants, white shirt and a coat and all that, he's practicing for what? Santeria. Leave him alone. Same with the females. They come in all white, the white shoes and the white stockings and like a nurse uniform. That's Santeria. Leave that stuff alone. You're not supposed to be dealing with that. Okay? Now, I don't want to get sidetracked. Okay, where were you?
Finishing the verse 10. Or an enchanter or a witch.
Right. You're not supposed to be dealing in that. And that's in our neighborhoods. Another thing that's in our neighborhoods, these places, now they say it's supposed to be for healthy eating. That's a bunch of BS. That's the one you see all these goats and lambs and chickens. Oh, fresh killed fruit. Food is good for you now. A lot of that dealing with witchcraft and sorcery. A lot of the drug dealers, they have the chickens and all that. And some of them, here's what they do. They get the live chickens and put them in the basement and let the dogs attack it so the dog get used to have eating blood. All that stuff, that's why we in so much trouble. We dabbling in everything dark to get ahead. And first of all, where you going? Think about it. When someone says, "Yo, I want to get ahead. I want to be in front for the first time." The only one in front now is Esau, and he's losing his kingdom. So where you going? What you call front? You in captivity. Where you going? What you trying to get? All you're gonna do is add everything up, and them angels are taking notes, writing down everything you do. So when you die and you face the Most High, they right there with your records. Most High telling you now is the time to repent. You ain't got time for that. You just adding up all the things against you. Then what you gonna do? This right here, people. The Bible. Now look up all the scriptures on repentance and start repenting. Avoid the rush. Where you at? You finished that?
Con.
Okay, where were you before?
2 Chronicles.
Okay, we finished that.
Back to Genesis 3.
Yeah.
Con.
What verse were you in?
6. Reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 6. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat.
Right. So in other words, she took that information and she shared it with her husband. Ain't talking about fruit. Fruit not gonna make you wise and you know good and evil. This is talking about something on a supernatural, spiritual level. Where they get it from? Satan. Where was Satan? Satan was in the midst of them. Satan is always around you. Okay, give an example. Somebody wants to throw a party. Oh man, let's get some beers. Nah, man, beers no. Let's get something better. I know something better, man. You have a good time. 6 months later, majority of the people in that party are strung out. That's how Satan works. That's how Satan works. Subtle. He just sit back and watch the fireworks. Remember, he didn't trick you. You wanted it. Because see, Satan doesn't trick you. Other words, you want a shortcut to things. The Most High gives you the agenda. Deal with A, B, C, and D. Now you want to dabble in something deeper, and that's when you get in trouble. If the Most High wanted you over there, he'd have told you to go over there. He said, no, you stay right here in this little room right here. That's it. You ain't got to be over there. But what'd he do? Let's find out what's over there. Oh, Lord, I didn't know it was going to happen like that. He looks at you like, he knows you was going to do it. It is in you to do something stupid. When the Most High tell you to do something, stick with that. Don't add nothing to it. Don't, well, let's see, or let's experiment. No. Go ahead. What verse you in?
6, 7, Shalat. And the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked.
When it says naked, that means they sinned. They sinned. It don't mean they're walking around the place naked. No. They sinned. Go ahead.
And they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons.
Now, that's not talking about clothes. That's talking about excuses for the fact of what they did. The Most High told them, don't do it. They did it. And what happened? They got jacked up. They know they sinned. So now they come to all these excuses to the Most High. As you read on, you start to see this. Go ahead.
And they heard the voice of the Adawan, Yahweh, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Adawan, Yahweh, amongst the trees of the garden.
Now, when it says hiding among the trees, they weren't hiding among trees, what you call trees, hiding among the people. That's what that's talking about. The trees were people. It showed you that in Ezekiel 31:18. Go ahead.
And the Adawan, Yahweh, called unto Adam and said unto him, where art thou?
Right. Now, he knew where they were. It's just, Go ahead.
And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, and I hid myself.
Right. When he said he was naked, he said he sinned. And he didn't want to face the Most High. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
And he said, who told you that you was naked? Has you eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldest not eat?
Right. Now, if you naked, how you need fruit from a tree to let you know that you naked? You supposed to know you naked. He sinned. This is talking about sin. Death equals sin in the Bible. Go ahead.
And the man said, the woman whom you gave to me.
Now see, he trying to pass it off on the woman. That's natural right there. Well, Lord, look, it wasn't me. It was the woman you gave me. Most High don't want to hear all that. Go ahead.
She gave me of the tree, and I did eat.
Now what's she gonna do? Go ahead.
And the Adawan Yahweh said unto the woman, what is this that you has done? And the woman said, the serpent beguiled me, and I did eat.
Yeah, she gonna blame it on Satan now. They both messed up. She got it, and then she shared the information with who? Adam. And the Most High told both of them, don't touch that fruit. Go ahead.
And the Adawan Yahweh said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field.
What verse you in?
14.
Go ahead.
Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life.
Thus is talking about confusion. This is what Satan's going to be doing. Read that again.
Khan. And the Adawan Yahweh said unto the serpent, because you hast done this, you are cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall you go.
Right, of a lower state. Go ahead.
And dust shall you eat all the days of your life.
Dust is talking about confusion. When you hear dust in the Bible, it's talking about confusion. It's like you're walking, and as you stumbling, you kicking up dust. That's what it's talking about. Go ahead.
And I will put enmity, shalak, between you and the woman.
Right. Now, who is that talking about? Who's that talking about?
This is about enemy.
No, enmity between him and the woman. There's enmity between Satan and the woman. Get Revelations 12 and 13.
Con. That's exactly what that is. Revelation 12 and 13. Khan. Reading out of the book of Revelations, chapter 12, verse 13. And when the dragon saw...
Stop. Who's the dragon?
Satan.
Thank you.
And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman.
Stop. The woman is who? Israel.
Eve. No,
the woman is Israel.
Khan.
That's when it talked about there be enmity between the woman and Satan. Remember, Genesis 3 is a metaphor. The woman is talking about is Israel. Because as you read in Revelations 12, it says the woman had what? Brought forth a man-child. The man-child is Christ. And Christ came out of where? Israel.
Khan.
Right. So the woman would have to be what? Israel.
Khan.
And there's always going to be friction between Satan and the woman.
Khan.
Now, it says war, right? Now, what is a war? A war is made up of what? Battles. Name some of the battles between Satan and the woman. This is a current event. Drugs, poverty, prostitution,
trafficking,
abortion, all that. Because see, Satan wants one thing. He wants that woman. That's what it's telling you. And then when you go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter, the Most High is telling you what's going to happen in the future. Okay, because see, people get thrown off. Oh, the woman, that's talking about Eve. No. The woman is talking about Israel. Okay? That's why, like, when you go to these churches, it's like, it's confusion because they don't know. For some, they don't know, and other things they can't talk about. 501c3, you can't talk about politics in the church. Okay? When you sign that contract, they tell you things you can't and that you can and cannot do in church. Talking against the government is a no-no. All churches have American flags with the gold braid. That's talking about martial law right there. Look it up. Next time you go into churches, look, you're gonna see up in the podium, you're gonna see an American flag, and it has gold braid. Okay, government controls that 501c3. They give them a rundown on what you can and cannot do in that church, and they send people in there to make sure you stay in that criteria, or they will shut you down. Okay, when martial law come in, all is gonna be crystal clear. You're just getting a sample of it right now. Okay, where was you in Genesis?
Verse 14. We're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 13, verse 4. Shalak. We're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 14. And the Adawan Yahweh said unto the serpent, because you has done this, you are cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon your belly shall you go, and dust shall you eat all the days of your life.
Right. It's talking about confusion, and he'll be of a lower state. It's talking about Satan. Go ahead.
And I will put enmity between thee and the woman.
Right. The enmity between thee and the woman, between Satan and who? Israel. The woman is Israel at this point. Go ahead. Remember, he's telling them what's going to happen in the future.
And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your seed and her seed.
Right. Women don't have seed, so that's talking about what? A nation of people. That shows you it's not talking about just a regular woman. Her seed. Women don't have seed.
It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel.
Now, what is that talking about? Remember, everything in this is a metaphor. That means you got to know them scriptures. Get Genesis 25. Start the 24th verse.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 25, verse 24. And when her days to be delivered were...
This is talking about the birth of Esau and Jacob. Two nations. If you got to understand, from birth, Esau and Jacob were never meant to get along. They was fighting in the womb. And then as things progress in the Bible, and you realize who's Esau and who's Jacob, you get people talking about, well, I got white friends, you ain't got no white friends. As this right now in this country, it's about survival for those people. Their numbers are dropping. Everything is going against them. They see what's about to happen. It's like our black people, they the ones got their head in the clouds. No, we can sit and talk this out. White people, they know it's over. Okay, they see the writing on the wall. It's over. The truth is coming out about Esau and Jacob. That's not some myth started by them nuts on the corner with the funny clothes. And then people are realizing those nuts on the corner with the funny clothes were telling the truth. Okay, it just they had to look like a fool for a little while to get the word out. Go ahead.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Right.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
Stop. Now, when you read before in Genesis 3, didn't it say one, his head was bruised and he had his hand on his heel?
Khan.
That's what it's talking about.
It shall bruise thy head.
Read that again.
Khan. And I will put enmity between you and the woman.
Right, Satan and Israel.
And between your seed and her seed. It shall bruise your head, and you shall bruise his heel.
Right. And how did that happen? It's Bible prophecy. And when you go to I know you don't have your apocrypha. When you go to second Ezra 6 and 9.
Second Ezra 6 and 9.
And they tell me, oh, World War III, it can be averted. No, it can't. Nothing written in that Bible could be averted. Why? Mosai sitting on his throne with them angels, making sure everything happens on time. Whoever got to get it.
We're in Second Ezra chapter 6, verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world.
Stop. What does that tell you? Who's running the world?
Esau, so-called white man.
Esau is running the world. And it's telling you what? Esau is the end of the world. Other words, you're going to run into what? Ruins. They're like if you have a company, the old man dies, he has two sons. One, he looks at him and says, but I have to leave it to this one. And this one is totally out of control. And he loses the company. Same thing with Esau. Esau wasn't meant to rule. Jacob was meant to rule. It's just Jacob was punished. Give an example. When you read Bible stories, right? Everyone's guilty of this. Now it says Esau is going to fall. Now you thinking of them people walking around in robes. When the Mosai said they're going to fall, what happens? Everything just collapses and that's the end of it, right? Here's what you have to keep in mind. Speed the clock up to today. These Edomites are going to fall. But when you look at them, you say, they going to fall? Millionaires, billionaires, and trillionaires, okay? Everything is on computer. These are the people that went into outer space, to the depths of the earth, and the top submarines, fighter jets that do like, what, 1,800 miles an hour. You tell me these people gonna fall? The Most High gonna bring them down.
In one day.
And not only that, is he gonna bring them down? Who you think is gonna replace them? Let's be for real. Do you really see black people replacing them? No. Only the hand of the Most High can do that. Our people are some of the stupidest people on the planet. Think about it for a second. You got grown men. They claim the fame is they got what? Pants that hang off their behind with a belt on. Majority of black women got their hair in like a blonde or brunette. If it's not a wig, they don't have their hair matted or whatever they do to make it look like a white woman's hair. And they more white than a white woman. And at some point, 1/3 of these people are going to be woken and realize who they are. And they're going to replace all these people who have the technology, the education, and the discipline. Only the Most High can do something like that. Think about it. They say that guy, Rothschild, his family's worth $500 trillion. That's not even money at that point. You see how much pull they got? Not only that, all the other nations are going to fall too. Why? Get me Luke 21:24. This is when Jerusalem fell in 70 AD.
We're in the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 24. They shall fall by the edge of the sword and shall be led away captive into all nations.
Now, that happened to us. They surrounded Jerusalem. Nothing got in and nothing got out. Who was there? Not just Esau, all the nations surrounded. So when we fell, what did they do? They got us. They took our records, documents, took some of us captive. That was status. You had an Israelite slave. And that's how we got to the four corners of the earth. There's no place when it said the brothers were sent to teach throughout the four corners of the earth. That don't mean to help everybody. No, That's where Israel was. Christianity is based on that lie that it's for everybody. No, it was for Israel. Where was Israel? In the four corners of the earth. It's telling you that that's what happened twice. And Luke 21:24, and the other one is the book of Joel, verses 1 through 3. When you check the records, during slavery, they had something called breeding farms. What they did was they had the slaves produce as many children as possible, and they sold them to the other nations. That's why when you hear in Genesis 15 verses 12 and 13, 12 was talking about the 400 years that we would serve. Okay, and the other verse 13, that's talking about the Most High is going to deal with the other nations that took advantage of us. That's not, people always say, oh, Esau, Esau, Esau. No, it's not just Esau. All nations took advantage of us. I seen a documentary. This Asian woman was explaining, you don't have Asian Chinese restaurants in white neighborhoods for one reason. The tactics that the Chinese use, whites are not going to allow that in their neighborhood. Here's what they do. They set up a business in your neighborhood and they take all the money out, but they don't reinvest it. Okay, that destabilizes a neighborhood. It makes it poor. So in white neighborhoods, you don't see a lot of Chinese restaurants. They don't allow that. All these other foreign nations, when they set up businesses, they don't allow them in their neighborhood. Everything is in what? The black and Hispanic neighborhood. It destabilizes it. They know what they're doing. Okay, all these other nations, they're against you. Somebody get the 83rd Psalm.
Which verse?
Start the first verse.
Come. We're in the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Right. Who hates us? Everybody. All nations are against us. Go ahead.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted every hidden and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off before being a nation.
Right. When these people come in, when these people come in your neighborhood, they know what they're doing. These Africans, all of them, whether it's legal or illegal, they know what they're doing. Okay, like the in my area, you got pizza parlors, they run by Africans now. You got Africans on one block and you got Arabs on the other block. You can't go in a white neighborhood like that. They ain't having that. But they allow that in our neighborhood. Them chicken stands that's run by them Arabs, you don't see them in white neighborhoods. You see what I'm saying? They come in, get their money, and they get out. Everybody makes money off of us. Why? That's the price. The 400 years, do what you want. But afterwards, I'm going to get you. Why was it allowed? Because the Most High was mad because we broke his laws. Now, let's prove that this was done because we broke the laws. Get me Jeremiah 29:10. And you get me Genesis 15, 12, and 13. Because it's in two places. It's there, and it's also in Acts 7, verse 6 and 7. Give me the one in the Old Testament. Yeah.
All right, we're in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 29, verse 10. For God says Yahweh, that after 70 years be accomplished at Babylon, I will visit you.
Stop. When you read the history, the Most High got mad at Israel. And he said, listen, I'm going to see you after 70 years, which meant what? You going into captivity. You looking, where do you look in? The Josephus. What happened? That 70 years was in where? Babylon. How long? 70 years. And then afterward, what did he do? He destroyed Babylon and lifted up Israel. Get what I'll ask you for.
Con. We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 12, verse 13. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me.
Genesis 15.
Shalat. We're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 15, verse 13.
Verse 12.
Verse 12, Shalat. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Now, from that point, it goes to Deuteronomy 20:16. You ain't got to go there, but that's when you understand the Bible, when it says study and show thyself approved, study. Everything falls in place. Go ahead, keep reading.
Shalat. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Right. In other words, the Most High is telling you how long it's going to be. The first in Babylon, it was how long? 70 years. In this case, how long is it going to be? 400 years. Okay, Trump was even talking about the 400 years. They all these people know what's going on. Read.
And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward they shall come out with great substance.
Right. What's that showing you? The first part was about the what? 400 years, and the second part was what? Judgment on the other nations. But people say, oh, black people are stupid. That's why we got the upper hand. We got the upper hand. No. You know why you got the upper hand? Because we under punishment. Get that. Get me Baruch. No. Ezekiel 39:23.
Reading out of the book of Ezekiel, chapter 39, verse 23. And the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity.
Right. Not because you smarter than us, you better than us. The Most High did what? He took the spirit away from us, dumbed us down, so y'all can take advantage of us for a certain amount of time to serve our punishment. That punishment is over. What you see on the news, that's your liberation, Israel. Now is the time you look up all the scriptures on repentance and start repenting and list all your bad habits, write them down, then start asking the Most High for forgiveness and put all your evil in that rearview mirror. And you better hurry up because this place is falling fast. Go ahead.
Because they trespassed against me.
Right. We trespass against the Most High. That's why we on the bottom. The Africans come in here and got their nose up. I should do messenger work, and it's a place on 47th Street. When you go a little bit past First Avenue, a lot of African diplomats live in those buildings. And they just don't have the right spirit. Like when they dress up, it don't look right. How you dressing up in a brown suit with black socks? It don't look right. They just don't have it. And everything about them is backwards. And then when they come around us, they got their nose up in the air, and whatever it is, they don't have it. That spirit that we have, they don't have. Even on the low level we have. Esau don't have the spirit we have. Think about it. Majority of the stuff in this, not just the country, on this planet, we invented. I just found out, excuse me, it was a black woman that invented the GPS navigation system. I didn't know that. And they had those women that did the mathematics to get this country into space. Black people. Sorry, get that book, Black Inventors. The stuff that we made, you said we made all that. We made all that. Even in this lower state, we made all that. These other nations, they come in here and they got their chest out. Like I saw this documentary, they were talking about like France. People see the Eiffel Tower and they say, oh, that's a ripoff. Because a few blocks from the Eiffel Tower, France is a slum. Okay, you look at the walls, graffiti, you see garbage. You even see garbage from military garbage from World War II over in Europe. All that is a dump. And they talk about, oh, you black people, you don't know how to do this, you don't know how to do that. Everybody who ever made themselves great that wasn't what you call black people or Israelites, they learned from being around us. All that's documented. Now, if we at the bottom of the barrel, how come everything revolves around us? We those chosen people. Fashion, sports, entertainment, even the sciences. When they talk about back in the days, there's something called numbers. That was started by black gangsters using pennies. And look how much money they made, even back then. Because the white gangsters, wait a second, how you making money off of pennies? They watched everything they did, and they took everything over. Back in the days, like in the mid 70s, almost every black person had a little number spot. What happened? They shut that down and made it legal. That's it.
No, you got politicians now using terms like it's gonna be lit.
Yeah,
They don't
slang.
like that.
Right. I seen that. I'm like, damn. The politicians using slang language. That's why white people panic and say, what's going on here? All of them, the president uses slang language. And it wasn't, Obama. It wasn't Obama. Biden is using slang language when he talks. All your commercials now have a beat about what? Rap music. All the commercials don't. Show me a commercial with a solid white family now. Ain't none. Ain't none. Either she's white and the husband's black or opposite. Everything that you see right now, you got to look very carefully. This place is falling apart. It tells you the 400 years is up. Then you do what? You get the other nations. They had a documentary about China. There's a heat wave in China. A lot of their crops, where? Finish. Their lakes and rivers, finish. Some are dried up completely. And with China, what you didn't know before, 40% of the rivers were too polluted to use for farming and water and everything else. Why? Too many people. So after a while, what are people going to be fighting over?
Resources.
Water. Thank you. Water and food. Look at this country. You got a heat wave. Arizona, 13 straight days of 110 degrees. What does that do to crops? They already tell you what they're going to do about crops. Synthetic food. I seen some of that synthetic chicken that they were talking about. I seen that in the supermarket. That up around me. I'm looking at it. First of all, it doesn't have skin. And when you look at it, it looks like somebody mashed it. It does. You know there's a difference when you look at it. Be like, because the chicken, regular chicken right next to it gives it away. Be like, why are they doing that? Because the heat. You ain't gonna have. What you gonna do with all the chickens out there in the yard? They're gonna die from the heat. A famine. This place is being shut down by the Most High. It tells you that in just them two verses. One tells you what we got, and the other one tells you what y'all gonna get. It's right in front of you. You got to read this Bible. You got to understand. The Most High is going to give you the ability, some of us, to like, oh, that's what it's talking about. That's the 1/3 he's dealing with. The 2/3, they just going to die. They caught up in the system. You get these people, I went to Harvard. Okay, so what? A woman, she was at Harvard. She took a nap on a couch and got arrested. So what you bragging about you went to Harvard for? They treat you like dirt. When they see you, when white people see you in prestigious schools or prestigious neighborhood, it scares them. Because they figure, hold on, if you moving up, then that means they must be moving down. That scares them. So don't tell me about your white friends at Harvard and Yale. It's about survival for them. They don't have the numbers anymore. Okay? Everything is coming out. Everything. Mixed marriage is destroying their numbers. Drug abuse. There's a place called Kensington in Philadelphia. It's like a whole section of a city. They allowed them to use drugs openly, buy, sell, and use. Why? Because too many white people was going to jail. So what they do is they can't decriminalize it, but what they'll do is they catch you with it, they'll give you a summons. They won't arrest you. If you want to use it, you gotta have it in small amounts. But when you look through there, ain't nothing but white people. You got some blacks and Hispanics in there. Let's keep it real. But the majority of white people nodding off. Homeless. Downtown Los Angeles, what happened? It's a third world country. You don't even recognize it no more. Seattle, there was a documentary. Seattle is falling. Seattle, Washington, the streets is like a third world nation. Who are these white people? They used to be middle class. Oh, I'm depressed. I'm taking pills. Those pills are designed to make it addictive. Why? So they can make money. So now when you lost your health insurance and you addicted to pills, where you gotta go? The streets. The streets. So what you saw with our people in the 50s and the 60s strung out on dope, that's middle America now. What does that go to? Genesis 15. Moses said, okay, I'm giving them 400 years, but then afterwards, I'm going to deal with y'all. Now, finish read.
Khan. According to their uncleanness and according to their transgressions have I done unto them, and hid my face from them.
Right. That's why you was able to take advantage of us. The Most High hid his face from us. Go ahead.
Therefore, thus saith the Adawan Yahweh, now I will bring again the captivity of Jacob,
Right.
and have...
When it said the captivity of Jacob, where's that? Jerusalem. He's going to bring us back to our homeland. Okay? Now, here's where the problem is. You got people on there claiming to be Jews. So that's another problem. That's going to be straightened out real quick. The Most High is going to bring Bible prophecies to pass in real time. Okay? You got to understand this Bible. Go ahead.
And have mercy upon the whole house of Israel,
Thank you. Go
and
ahead.
will be jealous for my holy name.
Right. Other words, the Most High is jealous for what? His people. Why? It ain't about us. It's his name. When we messed up, it ain't that we messed up. We messed up his name because his name is on us. Other words, it's about him. We just come with the package. That's the beauty of it.
Con.
His name is going to be straightened out worldwide. How? He's going to do things with us people. Those it tells you in Wisdom of Solomon, the 5th chapter. Those are the people, the ones we've been taking advantage of. Those are his people. Yeah, we're his people. That's it on that.
Con.
Okay, now let's go back to Genesis, the 3rd chapter. See, when you read, you gotta understand something. There's precepts. See, in church, they don't go over all this. They just talking about Adam and Eve was naked, and you figure it was just two naked people walking around in the garden. No, it's deeper than that. Go ahead. What verse?
Verse 16. We're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception.
Stop. What is that talking about?
Childbirth.
Right. What was childbirth before in the past? They would sit on a stool. And when they sit on the stool, gravity, the baby would just fall out where it's supposed to be. Now, you laying on your back, pushing and yelling and screaming and hollering. All they do is they do that so they can give you drugs, knock you out, and charge you. When the child's born, the mother's supposed to be sitting on a stool. Okay, then you had the midwives there. It would just gently bring the baby down, and that's it. Question? No, all right, no. Go ahead, read.
In sorrow you shall bring forth children.
Right, now the Most High is talking in the future at this point. Read that again.
In sorrow you shall bring forth children.
Right, that's a lot of pain. Some women said they was like in labor like 40 hours and all that stuff. Go ahead.
And your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you.
Stop. Read that again.
And your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you.
Right, your husband gonna rule over you. That's the way it's supposed to be. Now get 1 Corinthians 11 verses 1 through 3.
1 Corinthians 11. 1 Corinthians.
Never mind that crap you see out there now. The Most High has an agenda, and you gonna follow that agenda. It's called the chain of command.
First Corinthians 11?
Yeah, start from the first verse.
Reading out of the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 1.
Right, chain of command by the Most High. Go ahead.
Be ye followers of me, even as I also am of the Hamashiach. Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things, and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Hamashiach.
Right. The Most High is the one that's calling the shots. Go ahead.
And the head of the woman is the man. And the head of the Hamashiach is Yahweh.
So, so in other words, you got the Most High, you got Yahweh Shai, you got man, you got the woman, then you have the children. That's order. Men and women are not the same. Never meant to be. Down here, you get away with that stuff. But when the Most High sets his kingdom up, it's going to be order. The men, first of all, are the men in order now? No. Because if the men are under Yahweh Shai, what does that represent? The law. Are men under following the law? No. No. They're doing everything but the law. And all this stuff with the women, always talking about man can't do nothing for me, blah, 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 blah. That's going out the window. LGBT and all the other whatever goes with that, that's going out the window. Think about it. You got 3 planets. You got a planet with gay men, you got a planet with gay women, and you have a planet with normal people. In one generation, you only gonna have one planet. All the gay men, they're gonna do what? Get old and die. Lesbians, what? They get old and die. Now you have men and women operating the way the Most High set it up. That goes on forever. That's order. How you gonna have how you gonna have an 11-year-old child, your son talking about he want to be a woman now, and you fall for that crap? Okay, that's it on that. Go back to Genesis.
And unto Adam he said, because you has hearkened unto the voice of your wife, and has eaten of the tree of which I commanded you, saying, you shall not eat it.
What verse you in?
17.
Okay.
Cursed is the ground for your sake.
Now, when it says curses the ground, that's like when you're a farmer. You got to do all that extra work, digging, and you got to dig, then you got to put the seeds in. They didn't do all that before.
Con.
Okay. This was a punishment, that hard work.
Con.
Go ahead.
In sorrow shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to you.
Right. That's talking about the ground is going to be hard. Hard work for you to eat. You put that on. That's part of your punishment. See, the Most High is putting out punishment in future references. Yeah.
But also thorns and thistles can be adversity.
Yeah. No, it's not going to be easy. It's telling them that. Because what? You didn't do what I told you to do. And that also shows you what was this when it says they was naked. It wasn't talking about no clothes. It's talking about what? You sinned. Go ahead.
Thorns and we're reading out of the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 18. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and you shall eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of your face shall you eat bread, till you return into the ground.
That means you're going to work your behind off till you die.
Con.
It shows you that when you read on. Go ahead. It explains that.
For out of it you was taken. For dust you are, and unto dust shall you return.
Right. And that's what's going to happen. You will work your behind off from the time you get here till the time you leave. Punishment. Go ahead.
And Adam called his wife's name Eve, because she was the mother of all living. Unto Adam also and to his wife did the Adonai Yahweh make coats of skin and clothe them.
Now, what this is talking about, the coats and skin, is talking about they went from righteousness to unrighteousness. That's what that's talking about. Go ahead.
And the Adonai Yahweh said, behold, the man is become as one of us, to know good and evil.
Right. He was always trying to be like an angel. Following what? That understanding from who? Satan. Go ahead.
And now, lest he put forth his hand and take also of the tree of life and eat and live forever.
Right. They would have had the ability to live forever. Go ahead.
Therefore, the Adawan Yahweh sent him forth from the Garden of Eden to till the ground from whence he was taken. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims,
Stop. What are cherubims?
high-level angels,
Angels, exactly. Now, why bring angels into this?
to protect,
No, it's going to tell you. It's going to tell you.
and a flaming sword which turned every way,
What does it mean? Turns every way.
spinning.
No, not spinning. They have they watch everything. It's like a coverage of 360 degrees. When it talks about in Ezekiel, it talks about the angel. They walk, but they turn not, which means they don't what? They don't deviate from their job.
Khan,
That's what that's talking about.
Khan.
So, in other words, this shows you that this is spiritual. How do you know it's spiritual? The Most High sends an angel right there to make sure nobody ever gets into that. Read, it'll tell you.
To guard the way of the tree of life.
Read that again from the top.
So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims,
Who was the man he drove out?
Adam,
Right.
and a flaming sword which turned every way to guard the way of the tree of life.
Right. So in other words, an angel was sent there to make sure nobody gets into that again. So when you read that, you see how everything is a metaphor?
Khan.
And it was talking about what? The spirit world. Let me get this one real quick. It's about how the Most High deal with the spirit world. Get Ezekiel 9th chapter. You're going to read the whole chapter as much as you can. The Most High is going to send death. Well, you get that Quara. Give me Revelation 9, start the 12th verse. To show you the Most High is on his throne, 2 Chronicles 18:18, with the angels around him, watching everything and sending angels where they need it. Take care of that, you take care of that, and you watch that. Read.
Reading out of the book of Ezekiel, chapter.
No, you.
We're in the book of Revelation, chapter 9, verse 12. One woe is past, and behold, there were two woes more hereafter. And the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before Yahweh, saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates.
Stop. When Satan was cast out of heaven, right? The Most High had four angels put under the rivers Euphrates. Go ahead.
Verse 15. And the four angels were loose.
Stop. The angels become loose when what happens to the river? When the water evaporates. Over a period of time, the water would evaporate from the Euphrates River to where you can walk on the bed of the river. At that point, what happens? The four angels that was put under the river Euphrates will come out, and they would slay 1/3 of mankind. So in other words, the Most High has the demons loose at a certain point. Read that.
And the four angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year, or to slay the third part of men.
Right, so it's telling you what's going to happen. The Most High got these demons ready to raise pure hell out here. That's why we keep saying, look up them scriptures in the concordance about repentance and get into them. Write all your bad habits down. Don't leave them laying around. Just write them down and go over asking the Most High to forgive you. Start from as far back as you can remember. Don't say, well, I was a little kid back then. You was breathing, and you're going to have to account for everything. Go back, write this stuff down, and start asking for forgiveness. The Most High tells you all through it's in 2nd Ezra 16 and 17. The angels know what you're doing. Why? They keep records. They keep records. Repent now. Avoid the rush. Because when all hell start breaking loose, You're gonna be so busy. Oh man, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. You still gotta repent. If you don't repent, you're gonna deal with the consequences. Go ahead. That was it on that?
Yes, yeah, come.
Okay, now where were you?
Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1.
Read.
He cried also in my ears with a loud voice, saying, cause them that have charge over the city to draw near.
Stop. Who has charge over a city?
Satan,
Angels.
angel, Shalat. To draw near.
Well, now when it says it could be good angels or bad angels, it depends on what's about to happen.
Come,
Go ahead.
come.
Sodom and Gomorrah, what kind of angels were those?
Good
Those
angel.
are bad angels. No. All them gay men running around trying to have sex with the angels.
Khan, Shalat. I meant when it was destroyed.
Oh,
that
well, you
was
had the
on-
two good angels, but they were surrounded by what? Evil.
Negative, yeah.
But
Khan.
those were still angels, yeah.
Sodomites and pedophiles also included.
Go ahead.
Even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand.
Right. Now, as you read this, people think, well, these just some guys that just going to go buck wild. No, these are angels. As you read on, you'll see that these are angels. Go ahead.
And one man among them was clothed with linen, with a writer's inkhorn.
Now, that should give you a hint that that's talking about an angel.
Khan,
Because the writer's inkhorn is for what?
keeping record.
Excuse me, keeping records.
By his side, and they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of the power of Israel was gone up from the cherub, whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side.
Right. Inkhorn, when it says writer's inkhorn, that's somebody's going to keep records of something wild. And I say wild, something drastic that's going to happen. Go ahead.
And the other one said unto him, go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof.
Stop. When it says in the midst of Jerusalem, it don't mean Jerusalem, Jerusalem. Jerusalem in this case is anywhere Israel is. How do you know this? Because Israel was scattered throughout the 4 corners of the earth. The Most High wants Israel to obey his laws no matter where they are. Okay? No matter where you are, whatever custom they're doing, forget it. You do what he wants you to do. He'll make a way for you to do it, but you got to put that effort into it. It's like where we are now. You got to watch what you eat, watch the people you hang around. Go ahead.
And to the others he said in my ears, go ye after him through the city, and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly, old and young, both maids and little children,
Right.
and women.
That's what you're going to see out here. They're starting now, like a lot of these women out here, the ones that think they're men, all loud and everything. You can't tell me what to do. Blah, blah, blah. They're getting killed. And a lot of these guys, these gay guys, they're talking about, well, I'm gonna be me. I'm gonna do what I want, how I feel. You're gonna be dead. The Most High is gonna put the spirit, all that nonsense, LGBT and all that other transgender, all that other crap. The Most High ain't with that. You're gonna die in the streets. Okay, transgender. Oh, I want to be a woman. I want to be that. Deuteronomy, the 23rd chapter, the 1st verse, it tells you a man get his stones cut off. You want to have a sex change? That's going against the law. You gotta die. That's it. Ain't no compromise. All these women talking about a man can't do nothing for me. I want to be with a woman. Cool. Cool. They bury both of you. Because after a while, you're gonna be getting killed right out in broad daylight. You see the one where the man beat the woman up, her son shot him. That's just the tip of the iceberg. It's telling you right here, the Most High gonna send them spirits out. When you see people acting wild, spirits are in them. Spirits jumping them and they do all kind of crazy stuff. Read.
And begin at my sanctuary. When they Shalat, then they began at the ancient men which were before the house. And he said unto them, defile the house, and fill the courts with the slain. Go ye forth. And they went forth and slew in the city. And it came to pass, while they were slaying them, and I was left, that I fell upon my face and cried.
Now, but you got to remember, these spirits are killing. Now, the ones that sigh and cry for the will of the Most High, those are the ones that's trying to follow the laws, trying to be good. Nothing happens to them. But everybody else are doing their own thing. They're getting killed left, right, and center. You're going to hear stories about some guy sitting in his car doing what he's not supposed to be doing. Another guy just walks up and shoots him. About a couple of days ago, you had a guy riding a scooter, shooting people at random. That's what it's talking about. Spirit's going to get into people like that, and that type of stuff is going to happen. And people are going to be pulling their hair. What the hell is going on? You reading it. The Most High drew the line in the sand. If they're not with my program, kill them. Men, women, and children. Here's what you got to remember. When you see a baby 6 months old, oh, he's cute. No, that's a recycled Israelite coming back. When you live from, let's say, from the time you born, you live to be 90 years old. Oh, his whole life. No, that's his whole life in that body. The spirit lasts forever. Okay? The spirit lasts forever. Okay, then you go back to the spirit world for about a generation or two, then you come back. When a person dies, that's not the end of them. Okay? You're getting judged for what you did now. Read.
And I said, Adawan Yahweh, will thou destroy all the residue of Israel in thy pouring out of thy fury upon Jerusalem? And he said unto me, the iniquity of the house of Israel and of Judah is exceeding great, and the land is full of blood, and the city full of perversiveness.
Right, that's talking about what we do collectively. It's not talking about Jerusalem because we left Jerusalem in 70 AD. Go ahead.
For they say, the Adawan have forsaken the earth, and the Adawan seeth not. And as for me also, my eyes shall not spare, neither will I have pity, but I will recompense their way upon their head.
Right, because he gave us time to straighten up. It ain't like he just woke up one day in a bad mood and start telling angels to start killing. No. We were given warning. Israel, change your ways. I'm not playing with you. Go ahead.
And behold, the man clothed in linen, which had the inkhorn by his side, reported the matter,
right,
saying,
that's showing you that what? The angels are following what? Orders. If you're doing the Most High's work and they put a mark on you, the other angels see that mark and they go on and get the next person and jack them up. That's how life works. It's like if you walking and these guys come running, they out of breath, they got a bat, a machete, and a hammer. Then they look at you. That's him. Nah, that ain't him. And they go grab the guy at the end of the corner. You ain't supposed to get involved in that. He getting what the Most High wanted him to get. What you gonna do? Break that up? Yeah.
So the children in that matter, that's a recycled Israelite who get in that judgment.
Yeah. I mean, if you're 6 months old and your mother throws you in the oven and burns you up, what did you really do at 6 months to get her that mad. That's judgment. It tells you in Exodus 20, I get to the third and fourth generation, which means what? When you come back, you got to face the music. Okay. Oh, he's innocent. Ain't nobody innocent. Ain't nobody innocent. If a 2-month-old falls out the window and gets killed, oh, the poor baby. Oh, no, that's judgment. Most High is the ultimate bookkeeper. He get you. Go ahead.
saying, I have done as thou hast commanded me.
That's it.
Khan,
And that's it.
Khan.
Okay. That basically covers everything.
I have
Oh,
one
let me
precept.
get this. Somebody get me Jeremiah 16. You're gonna read from
You still in
15,
Jeremiah?
14 and 15.
Can I bring out a precept?
Yeah.
James chapter 1, verse 1. Reading out of the book of James, chapter 1, verse 1. James, a servant of Yahweh and of the Lord, the Hamashiach Yahushai, to the 12 tribes which are scattered abroad. Greeting. That proves that we're scattered.
Right.
Because he's only who could he be talking to?
And there's another one. It's in Isaiah 66, 20 and 21.
Isaiah 66.
Yeah.
Reading out of the book of Isaiah, chapter 66, verse 20. And they shall bring all your brethren for an offering unto the Adawan out of all nations upon horses, and in chariots, and in litters, and upon mules, and upon swift beasts, to my holy mountain Jerusalem, saith the Adawan, as the children of Israel bring an offering in a clean vessel into the house of the Adawan.
Right.
And I will
Go ahead.
and I will also take of them for priests and for Levites, saith the Adawan.
Right. So no, they use the word God. We say Yahweh or Adawan. It's gonna have the angels gather Israel from the four corners of the earth. We were scattered. He scattered us. Now he's gonna bring us back. That's how that works. Get me Jeremiah 16 verses 14 and
You got it?
15. So when you read the scriptures, it shows you. It's
You
talking
repeat
about
it?
different time periods. This is talking about now. Go ahead.
Jeremiah 16.
14 and 15.
Con. Reading out of the book of Jeremiah, chapter 16, verse 14.
Slow.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Adawan, that it shall no more be said, the Adawan liveth, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But
Well, in this case, you can use the word God because that people will pick up on that quick.
Con.
Read it. Start again.
Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that it shall no more be said, the Lord lives, that brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt. But the Lord lives, that brought up the children of Israel from the land of the north.
Right. Where are we? North
The
America.
North America.
Go ahead.
And from all the lands whither he had driven them.
Right. Now it tells you Israel got what? Scattered. Israel wasn't scattered at that point back then. Go ahead.
And I will bring them again into their land that I gave unto their fathers.
Right. You read that in Isaiah 66. Most High gonna bring Israel from the four corners of the earth back to where? Jerusalem. So what's that showing you? The Bible is telling you everything. You just have to read it and you have to understand it. The Most High has to open it up to you. The people in charge, so you can understand. If you could sit there and analyze, you understand about stocks and bonds and all that. When you can analyze a company, okay, their projected growth for the next 10 years, that same energy goes into this Bible. This Bible is on computer for the military. Anything happens, oh snap, that's in the Bible. The Euphrates River, it dried up. Oh snap, that's Revelations 9, 12, and 13. So then to super rich people, this Bible is like an instruction manual.
Con.
Okay, now on the level of like of our people, they've been brainwashed with church. It's like, whatever. But the fact is, the elite, this Bible has a whole different meaning. They take this Bible deadly serious because they know that they're Esau, and it says they're gonna fall. Obadiah tells you they're gonna be done away with. Isn't that just one book? They're gonna be done away with. It tells you what the highest point was what when they went to space.
Con.
And everything from there, what? It's been downhill. They know that. They had this documentary, Howard Hughes. He hated black people with a passion. And you say, so that guy's a billionaire. What does he do with black people? They know who you are. When they see black people acting stupid on TV, they are going to rule over us? Are you kidding me? Why do you think they put so much effort in putting drugs in your neighborhood? They know who you are. Why do you think they spend so much time poisoning your food? If you're so insignificant, why do you analyze everything you do? Yeah.
And also, if we are unclean and in iniquity, that death angel gonna smite us. So they're hoping that they could get as many of us killed off as possible.
Yeah, but what stops that? Zechariah 13, 8, and 9. Only 1/3 of Israel gonna be saved.
Con. And we gotta be saved no matter what. That gotta be fulfilled.
Right. Which means what? There's gonna be a hedge around us.
Con.
Now, who are the loose links? That's the 2/3. They're gonna be the ones be killed and this, that, and the other. Quick question: how does all Israel get saved?
Through Christ.
That's a safe answer, but you teach in a class, someone say, how is all Israel gonna be saved?
Through the promise that the Most High made to Abraham.
I know what you're saying, but they have no idea what you just said.
Con.
You gotta watch how you talk to people because they're like, if it goes over their head, they're gonna be. Remember, when these masses come in, they're gonna be angry and they're gonna be scared.
Con.
So you better know how to deal with them. You gotta get right to the point. Okay? 1/3 of Israel's gonna be saved. Okay, when we get delivered out of here, that's when the covenant falls into place. Give me Quara. Give me Jeremiah 31:31, quick. Now, where's the 2/3 at this point? They in the spirit world. So now when you want to bring the 2/3 in there, you got to go to Revelations 20 from the 5th verse. Go ahead, read it quick.
Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 31. Behold, the days come, says the Most High, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers.
Right, because we broke many covenants. Go ahead.
In the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break.
Right.
Although I was a husband unto them, saith the Most High.
Right, we were married to the Most High. That's Isaiah 54. Go ahead.
But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith the Most High, I will put my law in their inward parts.
Right, it's going to be, hold your breath for 5 seconds. Now you see I'm ignoring you because eventually you have to start breathing. Now, can you change your heart rate? No, that's how the laws are going to be. It's going to be in us. It'll be impossible. Remember, can you sin in the kingdom?
No.
No. It's going to be impossible for you to what? Sin. And that's going to be in us. Now, after the 1,000 years, the 2/3 start coming back. Through who? The
Through
1/3. Right, which are what? Under the covenant. So when
Con.
they come back, you ain't got to teach them Hebrew or the laws. It's going to be in them. You follow? Other nations can't come in. Are they going to learn the laws? Yeah, the 1,000 years. That's what that's about. A beat down for 1,000 years. That's when they going to get it. Okay, we getting it the other way, the spiritual way. That's what that's talking about.
Con.
So see, that's how
Con.
all Israel gonna get saved.
Con.
So when after that, when the 2/3, when they come back, they're gonna come back to the 1/3, and the covenant is gonna be established. They're gonna be living the covenant. You ain't gotta teach them nothing. You follow? So when the question is how Israel gonna be saved,
Through the new
that's
covenant.
how.
The new covenant.
What you said was right, but unless they understand the scriptures, they're gonna be scratching their head. Okay, I hope you all got something out of that. And with that, I'm gonna say shalom.
Shalom.
Oh.
That's it.